What is up, the Lions fans? It's your boy Motor City Don P, and we're back here once again. You already know what it is. It's Friday, party, 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 fun, fun, fun. You already know when you see me in front of TV, it's one thing for certain and three things for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats and not none of that static. And number three, and perhaps the most important number of them all, number three, we want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P? Does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. I'm glad you're asking. I'll let you know right now. I'll tell you. It's not. It's nothing for me. It's nothing for me to tell you how to keep your Lions news pragmatic. You got to smash that like button. You got to subscribe. You got to share with your peoples. And once you've done that, those three things, no matter in which order you've done them in, you've kept your Lions news pragmatic. Now, since sharing is caring, once you've shared the stream with your mothers, your brothers, your uncles, your sisters, your cousins, your fathers, your sisters, your brothers, your mothers, your uncles, your cousins, your sisters, you name it, then you have indeed cared about those people. What up, though, everybody in the chat? What up, though, to all the people who are watching but not chatting? And what up, though, to everybody out there in Lions land and in Eagles land and wherever the land it is that you're watching this from? I appreciate your watchitude and your attentionship. Yes, I just made those words up. We're going to get into the breakdown, the preview. Today, we've got some unfortunate injury news from the Detroit Lions side and no injury news from the Philadelphia Eagles side. That sucks. It's not fair, but it is what it is. You play who you play on the schedule when they are on your schedule, and you can't reschedule. You can't get any do-overs and gimmies. And so, hey, next man up. You got to go with the guys you got. You got to run out there with the Legion of Whom and Brian Branch, and see what happens. What up though, Chip Bradshaw? So yeah, the Detroit Lions, as you know, will be playing the Philadelphia Eagles on a Sunday Night Football. We are the late game. Those generally start at 8:20, 8:25, somewhere around there, and they carry us through to the midnight hour. But we will be without Sammy Potts. We will be without Kirby Joseph. Let's see what else we have here. We will be without Terrion Arnold. We will be without Christian Mahogany, as we already knew. Likely out is DJ Reed. So you're telling me there's a chance. You're telling me there's a chance. All right. I have to read this. I really don't care about it. It annoys me. At this point, y'all know it annoys me. We're talking about likely out Marcus Davenport. Who cares? Is the guy still on the team? Apparently he is. I don't know. Okay. It was pointed out the other day. I'm not going to speculate too far into what level of things he may be going through. Maybe he's just a weird dude when he sits in front of the camera and he talks. He looks like he's a little bit off, and then also he could just be a weird dude. He could be going through some things. So I'm not gonna talk about him too much like as a person. I've never talked about him as a person. I've only ever talked about him as a football player. Great when healthy, never healthy. So giving injury updates, it is what it is. So that's it. So likely out is Marcus Davenport. Possibly out is Amik Robertson. He popped up on the injury report a couple of days ago, late in the week, with a hamstring situation, and that's never what you want to see, especially not late in the week. Likely in is Penei Sewell. Likely in Taylor Decker. Things of this nature. So yeah, it's not great that we're going to be without most of our secondary. But again, the Legion of Whom has done it before. and they did it against a good team. They did it against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's when they you know jumped on the scene, landed on the scene, whatever you want to say, and announced their presence to the world. I guess I don't know. Um, we know the Philadelphia Eagles have lots of difficulties in the pass game. Um, Jalen Hurts has not been great. Um, he's not had a whole lot of successful things going on. Um, there's the beef with AJ Brown. There was something about AJ Brown wanting to, coming out and saying that the offensive coordinator should be fired. Um, but this beef has been going on for quite some time. The beef was going on last year. They were having sit down meetings and people weren't talking to each other and all these other things. And Nick Sirianni had to, intervene. And then what happened? They won a damn Super Bowl. So I can't really say too much about internal turmoil because the Lions don't have any, and that's supposed to be a saving grace for us. But then you got the Eagles with all this internal turmoil. You got Jalen Carter over there doing Jalen Carter things, and they win a Super Bowl. So sometimes things aren't fair, or we perceive them as not being fair, but it is what it is. So with that being said, the Detroit Lions are going to go into Philadelphia. They're going to have a difficult time um, with the environment, the crowd, the team. It's a tough place to play. Philadelphia, as you know, famously put batteries and snowballs and threw them at Santa Claus. So Josh Pascal is out. No one, expected him to be in. Meek Robertson is questionable. Um, Nolan Bianchi says talk to Lions cornerback Amik Robertson in the locker room. He says his hamstring is feeling fine and expecting to play versus the Eagles on Sunday. So hopefully that hamstring continues to feel fine, and we don't have any issues with that because we're gonna need Amik. Um, let's see. We know again Marcus Davenport. He wants to play. He says he can wait, but he's not going to wait patiently. He hasn't been waiting patiently. I mean, I don't know what you guys are expecting. People are expecting um people are expecting Marcus Davenport to come back and make an immediate impact. People are expecting Ahmed Hassanin to come in and make some sort of impact. I mean, it is what it is, bro. Um Questionable Malcolm Rodriguez. Okay. Um Malcolm Rodriguez is expected to play on Sunday for the first time since the ACL tear on November 28th, 2024. He opened his 21-day window on October 28th, so he is nearing the end of the window now. So we can expect to see Malcolm Rodriguez out there. So that's a good a boost to our linebacker depth and our special teams. Obviously, we expected Aiden Hutchinson to be playing. There was the elbow injury that he sustained at some point in the game last week against the Commanders. You could see that he was grabbing his arm and kind of flexing his fingers. So we don't know what it was, but it says the suspected left side elbow injury fortunately was not a big deal. He's been wearing a left elbow sleeve since week 17 at the 2023 of the 2023 season with unknown relation. Okay. Graham Glasgow is in. Notables unlisted Pat O'Connor, who is TaylorMade Media's favorite player on the team. What up to TaylorMade Media? Um, he was on the early week reports with a knee and was placed on IR today, which is why he's unlisted. Okay, so that is news for TaylorMade Media. Um, there are no players remaining on the PUP or the NFI. All of those players are off. Um, I'm gonna say IR injured reserve eligible to return this season. Um, let me see here. Khalil Dorsey and Manu are eligible to return this week. I don't know that they will be. Shane Zelsher was eligible to return week 7. Zach Cunningham is eligible to return week 13. Christian Mahogany is eligible to return week 14. And Pat O'Connor is eligible to return week 15 versus the Rams. The returns that we've already had are 3. I think you get 8. So Thomas, Reed, and Davenport. And all those guys that I just read about are still on the injured reserve. DJ Reed returned, Daniel Thomas returned, Marcus Davenport returned. Shane Zylstra, even though he was eligible to return in week 7, is still on IR. Jamarco Jones and Ezekiel Turner are still on IR. IR not eligible to return this season. Key players listed: Ennis Rakestraw, Levi Onwuzurike, Kenny Yeboah, Colby Sorsdahl, Justin Heron, and Dan Jackson. But we knew about all of those. Anyway, all right, let me get to some of y'all comments before we move on to the next part of the show. TaylorMade says, yeah, but the Eagles have Saquon. How's this Legion of Whom going to make tackles against him? Saquon has not been doing well this year at all. We'll get into that. You're scared of every team, okay? But Philly's defense is legit, so I won't clown you on that one. Let's what up though, Mr. Detroit City. Don Wick in the mix. Appreciate you. Somebody said Philly will destroy our offense. I don't think so. A lot of snaps either out or questionable. I don't I I don't really concern myself with questionable. As I've said many times this season, questionable is the new probable. I think we've gotten 1 or 2 surprises this year, where someone who was questionable was downgraded to out. I think that happened to Taylor Decker at some point this season, and I think it was somebody else. But other than that, the biggest blows are Sam Laporta, Terrion Arnold, and Kirby Joseph. I think those are the biggest blows. The reason that Sam Laporta is the biggest blow, is one of the biggest blows. Obviously, it's the safety blanket on 3rd down, but you've also got a safety blanket in Jahmyr Gibbs. You've also got a safety blanket in Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I just wanted Sam Laporta to be in there to be putting pressure on the middle of that defense. Philly's linebackers, you got Zach Bond, you got Jihad Campbell. Those guys are good in coverage. Those guys are good in space. Very good tacklers. We know the story of Zach Bond. Zach Bond was a special teams guy who got a shot, and now he's an all-pro linebacker. And he got the bag. So not having Sam Laporta against guys like that, it's kind of tough. I mean, we got Brock Wright that'll step in. Mr. Detroit City doesn't want to hear about that. We got Brock Wright that'll step in for Sam Laporta. And then we also have other options that will, replace the production. Like I said, Amon-Ra St. Brown, maybe even a little bit more of Isaac Tesla. Who knows? Dan Campbell's calling the plays, so he's going to make it work because he knows what this personnel is all about. On the pavement, it says, what live mode is this? What you mean? What do you mean? What live mode is this? Are you talking about the? Yeah, I don't know what you mean. So Cooper DeJean is going to hit who? Cooper DeJean is going to hit who? He's gonna hit whoever is available to be hit, I guess. He's gonna make whatever tackles are available to be made. So you're gonna have Cooper DeJean in the slot. So obviously he's gonna be covering Amon-Ra St. Brown. He may be covering Jahmyr Gibbs coming out of the backfield. So he's gonna have his hands full as well. It's not like the Lions don't have excellent players. Oh, so some of you are seeing mobile mode, some of you are seeing uh the whatchamacallit. I don't know how they do it. So basically what's happening now is it's called Mars. It's multi-aspect ratio. I don't know what the S stands for. Scenes. So some of you are seeing the mobile mode. Some of you now, if you're seeing mobile mode, just try to turn your phone into landscape and see if that changes anything. I did notice that the other day. The first thing that it offered me was the mobile mode. Okay. But see, now I'm up here with it. So, but this is also not if you're on my channel, right? If you're on Motor City Cats, you are going to see this unequivocally. If you're on LNU, then you can see either one. So if you don't like the mobile looking mode, then make sure you go over to Motor City Cats and watch from there. Subscribe from there. You know what I'm talking about? So let me see. Lions Nation Unite. All right. So yeah, that's in the shorts mode for whatever reason. Um yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know. So if you don't like that one, just go over, like I said, just go over to Motor City Cats and it will be in the standard definition. All right. You're on the right one now? Okay, cool. I'm a mobile on your TV. That's crazy. How would I be mobile on your TV? Um, yeah, I don't know. I can hide the vertical, but that's on mine. Um, yeah, I don't know, bro. It's supposed to it, the way that it's supposed to work is it's supposed to serve both of the modes, and it seems as though it's only serving the mobile mode, no matter what screen you are on. So, um, yeah, maybe I should. When we have the watch party, I just won't use the Mars thing. Um, it's a new feature, and I guess they just didn't get it right. Fixed it? Okay. All right. Um, so yeah, we were talking about yeah, we were talking about like Sam Laporta being out. Um Terrion Arnold. So we got Amik Robertson who's expecting to play, and then on the other side of Amik Robertson, there's like a 2% chance that you can see DJ Reed, but he's likely out. So what I'm going to say is you're gonna have Nick Whiteside, you're gonna have Who else is a candidate? Rock Yassin. Rock Yassin is going to be over there. Rock Yassin has played major minutes for us. He's filled in quite well. Um, as far as filling in for Kirby Joseph, you might have Avonte Maddox back there because remember, Avonte Maddox is a former Philadelphia Eagle, a Detroit native, but a former Philadelphia Eagle. He knows that team well. I'm sure he's given it a lot of insight into what to expect from playing in Philly, to expect from the fans, all these other things. I think he's going to be able to fill in for Kirby, not give us what Kirby gives us, right? Not give us that ball hawk that Kirby gives us, that covering the deep thirds of the field, that center fielder. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, as a body, he's going to be able to step in and fill in decently enough. Really, the biggest threat of passing, and this is why I think the Kirby Joseph, not having Kirby Joseph against the Philadelphia Eagles is a lot more significant than not having Terrion Arnold. Is that deep passing game? Devonta Smith is going to go. He's going to run deep. Jalen Hurts is going to hit him. Now, my only thing that I can say is this: our pass rush is going to be huge in this game because you cannot give Jalen Hurts the time, even though he's going to run around, right? He's going to, Shep is going to have a spy on him. We get it. Like, the mobile quarterbacks that we've played this season have not fared well. It's not a situation like when AG was here, when he wouldn't use a spy, and the plan that he had for, I'm not going to say he didn't have a plan. The plan that he had for the mobile quarterbacks wasn't executed well enough or didn't work well enough. And it's been the complete opposite under Coach Shep. So I'm not really worried about the mobile aspect of the quarterback from the perspective of he's going to kill us as he runs around, right? He's going to rush for 100 yards this game. No, that's not what I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is just him using his legs to buy time to go downfield. Okay. You're going to have a safety over the top wherever Devonta Smith goes because that's the guy that's going to kill you deep. AJ Brown can get deep, but he's not Devonta Smith. AJ Brown gets about 2 targets a game and is averaging in the last few games like 13 yards per game. So there's been a lot of talk about AJ Brown. I don't know that the Philadelphia Eagles are not going to make a concerted effort to get him the ball, especially with no Terrion Arnold. Nick Whiteside is a bigger corner, so I would expect for him to be on AJ Brown. Amik Robertson goes against bigger receivers all the time because he's only 5'8" or 5'9". However, I think AJ Brown is just a different animal. He's a beast. AJ Brown is like, it's like putting him on AJ Brown is like putting him on DK Metcalf. I don't think you want to do that. Just the physical stature, the strength, the beastliness alone. I don't think you want to do that. So it'll be interesting to see who they match up on AJ Brown. Like I said, I believe it'll be Nick Whiteside or Rock Yassin. Rock Yassin is the bigger of the two. I believe it's going to be Rock Yassin anyway, because whenever it's a Meek and fill-in, that fill-in is Rock Yassin. I know they worked him some at safety, but I think they're more comfortable with Avonte Maddox at safety. Rock Yassin is a corner by trade. Avonte Maddox did play safety while he was in Philadelphia. So I think that that's going to be more of a reason to do it that way. It's another Legion of Home week for sure. If you've got these cats playing in the secondary, Jalen Hurts might throw for 350 yards. And that's why the pass rush is going to be very important, right? Because we've got to limit what he's able to do. We can't just let him run around and throw the football. What up, though, Jody Carruthers? Happy Friday to you. Goodell's new war cry: FBI wants to lock me up for fixing NFL games and trashing the Detroit Lions. Well, I don't know. He might be saying that behind closed doors because Goodell doesn't do a whole lot of talking in the public. Not a whole lot. All right. So let me see what we have as far as some takes that we agree with or don't agree with. Let me see. There's a lot of articles on Sam Laporta. All right. Okay, so here's one. It says Lions Legion of Whom could catch a huge break thanks to fiasco. So we'll get into this. And like I said, I don't know that AJ Brown and his drama is really going to affect anything because it really hasn't affected anything all season. They won a Super Bowl last season. They're 7-2 this season. I just don't know that it matters. But this is from a sideline report by Candace Pedraza. It says, while the Detroit Lions' health is a concern headed into their Week 11 matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles, it feels like the drama involving the Eagles' offense might actually make things a bit easier for them. At some point, man, we're getting healthier for the playoff push. But, man, at some point, you just want to be able to see the Lions at full strength for more than week one. You know what I mean? One of Philadelphia's best receivers, AJ Brown, stirred the pot this week after yet another quiet game for him. Brown finished up the Eagles' win over the Green Bay Packers with just 2 targets for 13 total receiving yards. He's only at 408 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns on the season, notching yet another abnormally low production year for the wideout. Now he's got lower numbers than Jameson Williams. That's crazy. Brown isn't too happy about this. He said on a recent stream of Madden that anyone who had recently added him to their fantasy team should remove him, adding that everything aside from football in his life has been good. This could go one of two ways. Brown will either continue to struggle in Week 11 against the Legion of Whom, set to be deployed against Philadelphia, or they'll be in a world of trouble as Philadelphia looks to quickly bury any notion that Brown isn't a key piece to their offense. And I believe that that is going to be the approach. I don't believe that it's going to be, he had 2 targets versus the Green Bay Packers, so we're going to give him 2 more against the Lions. I think it's going to be close to 10. I think they're going to force feed him. Again, and that's why that's why it's important for our pass rush to get home. It's very important. Aiden Hutchinson is going to be extremely important in this game. Lane Johnson is playing, so the Eagles are healthy, man. The Eagles are relatively healthy. So other than that, you got to do what you got to do. It says Brown's woes could mean good news for Legion of Whom. The drama surrounding Brown's involvement reached a fever pitch on Wednesday, with head coach Nick Sirianni telling reporters he's essentially done commenting on the topic. Brown told reporters in the locker room the same day that his frustrations should be on full display for all to see. This could help out the Lions secondary, which is already going to be feeling the pain without Terrion Arnold, assuming he's not out of concussion protocol in time for this contest, which he will not be. The backup crew behind Brian Branch could be dealing with a pretty one-dimensional Eagles offense, considering how their year has gone so far under OC Kevin Patullo. Now, I again, when this got to this point last season, when it got to the point where there were reports coming out of Philadelphia that Jaylen Brown, not Jaylen Brown, AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts weren't talking to each other. When it got to Nick Sirianni had to intervene and had to have a meeting between the two. When it got to all that, the Eagles went to AJ Brown. If you don't want it to become a distraction, you better not lose to the Detroit Lions while AJ Brown has 20 yards receiving. Because if you think that it's getting loud in wins, imagine how loud it's going to get in a loss. Now it's the Detroit Lions, so you'll both be 7-3 after a loss. It's the Detroit Lions. You're both considered to be Super Bowl contenders. It's the Detroit Lions. Both of these teams are looking like they're going to be in the playoffs. It's the Detroit Lions, so both of these teams, it's like the regular season doesn't matter. Why do I keep saying that? Because it's not like you're talking about a bad team. It's not like you're losing to the New Orleans Saints and AJ Brown has 20 yards receiving. So it's not like his production is going to make or break this game. And I know that's crazy to say, but he's got 408 yards on the season. He hasn't been a big part of this team. He hasn't been a big part of this offense, and they're 7-2. Jameson Williams was in the same boat until Dan Campbell took over play calling. However, Jameson Williams didn't make a peep. Didn't make a sound. So when you look at the AJ Brown situation and you go, oh, you know, he's a diva, he's this, that, and the third thing, he doesn't care about winning because they're 7-2. But I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. They can't trade him. He's past the trade deadline. Howie Roseman said, when you're trying to be, it's hard to try to be great when you're getting rid of great players, which makes complete and total sense. So we don't care what it's going to look like for Philadelphia when hopefully they lose this game and AJ Brown has, 20 yards receiving. We don't care what it's going to look like for them. However, they care what it's going to look like for them. And they know going into this game that they could very well lose the game because of the type of team that's coming in to Philadelphia to play them. I expect AJ Brown to be targeted early and often in this game. And also because you do have the Legion of Whom in there, who's not really going to be able to take him out of the game, not going to be able to lock him down, not going to be able to make him a non-factor. You'd be stupid if the offensive coordinator doesn't understand the mismatch that is at his disposal. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. Now, on the flip side, and we know AJ Brown is a professional. Is he a consummate professional? No, because he's out there talking to the media about his role when they're winning. They're 7-2. Allow me to reiterate, they're 7-2. They're not 2-7. They're 7-2. They're not sitting at 500. They're 7-2. 9 games, 7 wins, 2 losses. But their offensive coordinator is a dumbass if he does not see the mismatches here. It just doesn't make any sense. So I feel like as the ball seer, AJ Brown is going to see a lot of targets. You see what I did there? A lot of seeing going on. See with your eyes. All right. I appreciate you, Mr. Detroit City. Recent stream on Madden. Yes. So basically, he was on a Twitch stream, talking to the chat. He was streaming Madden. He was playing Madden, talking to the chat, or he was in someone else's stream. And he said this about the fantasy owners. I saw a clip, I didn't listen to it, where he apparently told the chat that the offensive coordinator had to go. This was from about 5 hours ago that this got posted. I cannot confirm or deny that that was the actual thing it said. I read it. I did not listen to it. And this account that I got it from is a notorious clickbaiting account. So I don't know. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's what actually happened, that he said that the coordinator needed to be fired. Now, I read some of the comments below. I didn't see any, oh, why are you clickbaiting? Why are you lying? Blah, 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 blah. So that could have been what transpired. Eagles gave up 0 sacks last week. I know. But that can't matter to us. The Eagles gave up 0 sacks last week, but the Eagles were also going up against a secondary that right now is better than ours. The Green Bay Packers secondary right now is better than ours. While they are a Legion of Whom type secondary themselves, their Legion of Whom is better than our Legion of Whom. Right? Right now. That's just the way that it is. Whoever can run on the other's D-line should win this game. And wouldn't you know, I'm glad you said that, Robert Stevens. Wouldn't you know that in perfect timing, Dan Campbell has taken over play calling? Because we know if it was Johnny Moe, he would say, let's just run it into the teeth of Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. And we're going to get 1.5 yards per carry. And we're just going to keep doing it because there's no way that my scheme can be stopped by anyone. I don't care if you're Jalen Carter. I don't care if you're Jordan Davis. I don't care if you're Vita Vea. Hell, you could go ahead and put Aaron Donald in there. I don't care who you are. I'm running it into the teeth of the defense, and you better stop it if you want to stop it. Oh, 1.5 yards a carry? Well, you think you stopped it, but we still got 1.5 yards per carry. I'm so glad coming up on this game. Dan Campbell just went ahead and got his sea legs underneath him against the Washington Commanders. See, that's how you understand, like, Dan Campbell is that coach. Dan Campbell is filthy in the mind, too, okay? Hashtag if you know. Shout out if you know, use the hashtag. Dan, what up, though, Tactical Sport? Dan Campbell up here, okay? Oh, the Washington Commanders suck. I'm going to take over play calling duties so I can, you know what I'm saying, I can get back into the flow of it while the game is going on. And if I make a mistake here or there, Washington is not good enough to make me pay for it. So it is what it is. Now, coming to Philly, he's got a match with Vic Fangio, and he's gotten his sea legs underneath him. He took over the play calling. Now it's like, okay, cool. I'm back used to doing this. Okay. Now the challenge is going to be, what type of adjustments is he going to have to make? And how will he make them? That's all. What up, though, JSJ? He says, looks like our corner backup core is on a skeleton crew again. Could be a long game dealing with Smith and Brown. Could be. I see what you did there. You see. Philly fantasy league stuff. It wasn't fantasy league. He was playing Madden and he was talking to his chat. It's like I'm talking to y'all. What up, though, Tactical Sport? Is this the NFC Championship game preview? I'll know once we play the Rams in their trap. Philly beat the Rams on that like last second field goal block, right? So I would say it's a coin flip. I would say one of these three teams are going to be in the NFC Championship. Wouldn't it be great if it was the Detroit Lions versus the freaking Los Angeles Rams, and the Lions win and beat Matthew Stafford? And the Lions win and beat Matthew Stafford to go to the Super Bowl. Wouldn't that be awesome? All right. Okay. All good, all good. Shepard and the defense needs to step it up a notch. A few 3 and outs would be huge. Well, guess what? The Philadelphia Eagles are leading the league in 3 and outs. The Philadelphia Eagles are leading the league in 3 and outs. I think that their offensive coordinator is more inept than Johnny Mo. So with their offensive coordinator being more inept than Johnny Mo, I think that's going to help us. But again, it's got to be that defensive line. That defensive line has to be the leader of the pack. You do that, Ron. Say it so Mo. All right. This is a tough one. This one is a toss up. It is a coin flip. And I'm not I'm not 100% sure about it. And the reason is just I really think that their offense is going to look different this week. I really think they're going to focus on the passing game. Saquon Barkley has not looked like Saquon Barkley of last year. Now that their offensive line is healthy, they're going to look to get him going. The Lions' run defense has been a bit leaky the last 2-3 weeks. So if they're able to get it going with Saquon Barkley, I would say the advantage goes to them. It just, who is going to return to form first? If they return to form at the same exact time, then I would say that the Lions have the advantage because our run defense didn't care who the running back was. Our run defense was going to stop you. Earlier in the season, when they were in the Jekyll and Hyde phase, you got kind of gashed by You didn't get so what was happening? It was like a on off situation. Uh Josh Jacobs didn't do much against you in week 1, and then DeAndre Swift was like 6 yards a carry somehow in week 2. But he didn't get too many carries because they were getting blown out. Then in week 3, Derrick Henry had the one big run, and then you shut him down for the rest of the game. Right? Then in week 4, you're giving up. So it's when they were in that Jekyll and Hyde phase, you just have to see who it is. But like I said, the past 2-3 weeks, it hasn't been a Jekyll and Hyde. It's been just Hyde, or it's been Jekyll, right? Because Dr. Jekyll is weak and meek, and that's basically what our run defense has looked like. So hopefully they can kick it into Hyde's gear. Boom, boom. uh, I don't see it like Philly and GB last week. I see over and under 53-point games or more. Ah. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Excuse me. Woo. 53 points over under. So that's what? Somewhere around 27, 24. That's 51 points. So 28 to 25, something crazy like that. All right, let me do this systematically. Let me continue thinking through this. Okay. Let me continue thinking through this. Because we're going at the beginning of the year, not the beginning. When we got the schedule, I told you guys that the only 2 teams that I was afraid of were the Baltimore Ravens and the Philadelphia Eagles. After we did what we did to the Baltimore Ravens, then I wasn't afraid of the Philadelphia Eagles. Because the Philadelphia Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens are built similarly. But the Baltimore Ravens, I believe, are the better team built this way. Does their record show it? No. I'm just talking about the talent on the team. Lamar Jackson is better than Jalen Hurts. Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley are pretty much a wash. If you look at, Derrick Henry's older now, but the totality of his career has been much better than Saquon Barkley's, if we're being quite honest. Saquon Barkley didn't have a career year until last year. Right? That was his first breakout dynamic year. If you look at the receiving core, it's very similar. Baltimore Ravens, they've got Zay Flowers, and the Philadelphia Eagles have Devontae Smith. They've got Rashad Bateman. They've got AJ Brown. They've got Mark Andrews. They've got Dallas Goedert. So you might give the slight edge because of AJ Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles, but the fact that the offensive coordinator can't seem to get him into the game plan, then you'd have to give the edge to the Baltimore Ravens. The defense, as what we know it to be, would have gone to the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know what's going on this year, injuries and the like. Kyle Hamilton. So I think the top 3 safeties in the league reside in Detroit and Baltimore, right? We've got 2 of the top 3, and they've got 1. Um, the Eagles have Quinyon Mitchell. The Ravens have Nate Wiggins. Quinyon Mitchell's better in that situation. Uh, so I would say the secondary as a whole is better in Philadelphia. So as you can see, you see what I'm getting at. It was a very evenly, they're very similarly built. So I figured that you wouldn't beat the Ravens and you wouldn't beat the Eagles because they're very similarly built from top to bottom. But once we beat the Ravens, I was like, hey, we can beat the Eagles no problem because we can beat anybody. If we can contain Lamar Jackson, I think we sacked Lamar, what, 7 times? Can we do the same thing to Jalen Hurts? Can we sack Jalen Hurts 7 times? Because I know he wasn't sacked last week, and they got Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary and them boys. So they weren't sacked at all last week. But obviously, our defenses are different. All right. I think we have. I can't say that. I can't say that. If I was going to say that, then I'd be lying. Okay. We don't have just as much talent up front. On the defensive line as the Green Bay Packers do. Okay. If you want to say that Aiden Hutchinson and Micah Parsons are a wash, because I know that some Lions fans are going to say that Aiden Hutchinson is better than Micah Parsons, and some will say that Micah Parsons is better than Aiden Hutchinson. They play 2 different positions. Okay. Micah Parsons is more of an outside linebacker, but he's just a pass rushing outside linebacker. Um, and I say that just because, sometimes he'll have his hand in the dirt, they'll move him all over the field. Um, and I say that's more so linebacker stuff than edge rusher stuff. Is Rashawn Gary better than El-Quadin Muhammad? Yes. You know what I mean? So if we're talking about edge rushers, you're gonna have to kind of. So I mean, that's it. Can we use that spy and effectively keep Jalen Hurts in the pocket? And once he gets out of the pocket, we have the spy that can corral him and maybe run him into some sacks over on Aiden Hutchinson's side. That's going to be the issue. Um, Aiden Hutchinson versus whoever, if he's lined up over Lane Johnson, um, it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. Philly has a very good offensive line. They were able to keep Jalen Hurts clean, and then Jalen Hurts is also able to keep himself clean. So I think defensively for the Detroit Lions, it's going to be a tough matchup. The running game is a known unknown. The passing game is a known unknown. So you can't put your finger on it because they could go out and light it up for 300 plus yards, or they can go out and have a dud and get you 150. The matchup here says throw the football. If they go with the matchup, that's going to further mitigate the effectiveness of Saquon Barkley. This is tough, man. This is tough. It's a toss up. It's a toss up, and it all depends on how much pressure you can generate on Jalen Hurts. That's it. Because Saquon Barkley had 20 carries last week for 66 yards. No touchdowns. This offense is just stuck in the mud. It doesn't look good. But then every now and again, Jalen Hurts will throw for 350 yards versus the Minnesota Vikings. And we know how good their defense is. We know how much pressure they like to bring. We know how much, they like to blitz and so on and so forth. So if he can throw for 350 on them, it's tough. All right. Before I get on to our offense versus their defense, let's look at your comments. Dino says Philly just wins though. Well, they just won one more game than us, So Lions 32, Philly 21. Okay. I see how you got there. What up though? Here's Johnny. Saquon didn't have a breakout with the Giants because they paid Danny Dimes instead, and they had a bad offensive line. But now he's running behind a much better offensive line. This year, he's not looking like he looked last year. That's what I'm saying. It's just not working. I will take a look at the Eagles safeties. All right. Yes, missing Laporta is going to be tough. Now, Belichick won't look at the NFL. Okay. He rules out coaching the Giants. Now, why wouldn't he want to return to the Giants? That's where he got his start. Not really, but that's where he got his Super Bowl rings. Anyway, let's do this. Let's look at some numbers here. You know I'm not that kind of guy, but we're going to have to do it. All right. Total defense. Philadelphia is ranked 18th. Eagles are ranked 7th. I mean, the Lions are ranked 7th. Okay. The Lions give up 294 yards per game. The Eagles give up 328. Okay. Passing defense. Lions are 12th. Eagles are 14th. We're separated by 10 yards. 199 for the Lions, 209 for the Eagles. Rushing defense. Lions are 8th. Eagles are 19th. Okay. So the Eagles are giving up 118.6 per game. The Lions are giving up 94. Scoring defense. Eagles are 10th. Lions are 12th. Eagles are giving up 21.3 points per game. The Lions are giving up 22.2 points per game. So not even a point differential. Red zone defense. Eagles are 4th. So 48.1% chance of scoring a touchdown on the Eagles. Lions are way down. Where are they? Lions are 25th, 66.7%. Okay. So you got to keep them out of the red zone. That's going to be a key. You got to keep them out of the red zone. They get in the red zone, it's pretty much going to be a touchdown. 2 out of 3 times. Third down defense, Lions are 6th, 35.5% chance of you completing it, picking up the first down on third down. Eagles are way down there, 26, 42.4%. So now that should be friendly to the Lions. Okay. So what I'm seeing by the numbers, okay, is that the Lions will be able to run on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Lions will be able to pass on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Lions will be able to pick up third downs against the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Lions will need to try to score from outside of the red zone. But if you are inside of the red zone, there's an opportunity, but it's less likely because they are the number 4 defense in the NFL as far as red zone defense. So I think that favors the Lions. I think the Lions will be able to put up points. Now, the point spread, the point total differential is less than a point. 21.1 points for the Eagles, or 21.3 points for the Eagles, 22.2 points for the Lions. So it's less than a point. But I feel like once you factor in all the Lions are just bad in the red zone, which leads to points. But if they can keep them out of the red zone, right? And I didn't even need to look up Philadelphia's offense because we know Philadelphia's offense has been bad. But again, the numbers don't tell the whole story. The Lions are 6-3, the Eagles are 7-2. If you looked at those numbers alone, you would think the Eagles were 3-6. Right? Because we know their offense is bad. Their defensive numbers aren't the greatest. So I'm gonna say the Lions are gonna win a close one, 24-21. That's my score prediction. The Lions will go into their trap and they will take over their trap and they will win the game 24-21. I think Jahmyr Gibbs has a very good game because we're going to get him out in space. We're going to exploit the zone defense. And because they play a zone defense, you're going to have a lot of people open. And it's going to be up to those people to make plays after they get the ball in their hands. Fortunately, we have guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, J-Mo. David Montgomery is going to be, a factor in this game. I think the fact that we're able to run the ball against the Philadelphia Eagles, you're going to see a heavy dose of those 2 running backs, especially since you've got Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in the middle. You want to keep Goff clean. So I think Dan Campbell is going to help Goff by establishing the run. And because they give up almost 120 yards a game on the ground, I think you're going to have no issues establishing that run. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. That's why I picked 24-21, a nip-tuck battle. So tell me what y'all think and get ready for mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Mailbag. Snick, mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Bask in it. All right, I'll get to your comments as I'm waiting for your mailbag questions. Bill Belichick is 85 years old. Is he 85? I thought he was in the 70s. I don't think he's 85. I think you're trolling. Um, so 4 TDs plus extra points should win the game. Well, yeah. I think four less than that gets you uh the win. Red zone, test down. Vikings and Falcons are the only two clubs that have beaten the Eagles. That is facts. That's crazy that the Vikings beat the Eagles. That is crazy. The Vikings didn't beat the Eagles, did they? Did they lose to the Vikings? They lost to the Vikings. That's crazy. No. Carson Wentz didn't beat them. Did Carson Wentz beat the Eagles? Carson Wentz looked like trash versus the Eagles. Hold on. No, the Eagles beat the Vikings. That's what I was like, nah. Eagles beat the Vikings. 28-22. October 20th or October 19th for y'all. Mailbag, what happens if Coach Campbell or whoever is calling the plays doesn't have the X's and O's moving all over the field versus Vic Fangio's defense? I don't think that's going to happen because it's Dan Campbell calling the offense and it's his offense. So I think Dan Campbell is smart enough to understand what he's up against. Johnny Moe just wasn't. Johnny Moe was, it's my way or the highway. And your way got us 3 losses. So, MB, what's up with the vertical only mode? Not a fan. Yeah, because that was supposed to be, it was supposed to be both. And it seems to just be porting the vertical only mode. So I will be scrapping that. It is a feature. It's a feature in StreamYard, and they recommend that you use both aspect ratios, and then they will port the ones to whoever. But they haven't done a good job of that. So make sure. I mean, if you're in Motor City Cats, you shouldn't be seeing the vertical only mode. That's the crazy part. I didn't see the vertical only until I went to LNU. When I was on my channel. Oh damn. Well, now on my channel it's the vertical. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I will be scrapping it though. I will be scrapping it. Okay. So I get what's happening. Okay. On my channel. Okay, on Motor City Cats. And I was wondering why there were two. So basically what you've done is you've clicked on the mobile only one. I was wondering, I was like, why are there 2 instances of this live? So yeah, I won't be doing that. So for the watch party and moving forward, I'm not using this layout anymore. So it's only going to be the full screen, the landscape that you guys have come to know and love. Mailbag, many Lions content creators are 0K with sorry. What did I say? 0K. I don't know. Are okay with giving folks this Sunday off at the link. I call it ducking the Eagles. What say you? What do you mean they're giving folks this Sunday off? Yeah, Claire, what do you mean by that? With MCDC calling the plays, will Detroit have a better third down conversion rate? Yes. 1,000 times yes. Did folks forget that the Eagles are defending Super Bowl champions? Nope, we didn't. We did not. That's why when I picked it, I 3-point game. Vegas has the Eagles as 1.5-point favorites. You know what that's called? A toss-up. It's called a coin flip. Vegas ain't sure that the Eagles are going to win this game. What up, though, Belinda Brown? Yeah, so I got 24-21. Lions winning this one. Oh yeah, well we're focused on winning the NFC North. Well, if you want to win the NFC North, you got to win games against NFC opponents. I mean, the Eagles just beat the Eagles just beat the Packers. So now you want to beat the Eagles. Cuz if the NFC North comes down to remain such a tight race down the stretch, you're going to have to go with tiebreakers. You're going to have to go with strength of schedule. You're going to have to go with like opponents. So this is a game that you must win. If you're trying to win your division, you got to win this game. That's just the way that it works. Right? If it wasn't so tight of a race, then yeah, maybe you could say stuff like that. But no, that's crazy. That's crazy. All righty. Well, make sure you put that in a super chat. All right, Robert Stevens. We'll check you out later, man. Yeah, it's a bit of ducking, you know. It's crazy talk. This guy came in here and added actual nothing, so we'll just delete that. Oh man, yeah, you know I hate trolls from other teams. I really do. It annoys me because I was never that type of person. You know what I'm saying? I was like, especially it's like if it's divisional opponents, yes, bro, you're a regular season opponent. Get the hell out of my face. Now, if it's the playoffs or something like that, then I can understand it. Get a regular season game. What is your life like? I'm gonna go find a Lions creator, go to his live stream, and then do that. You know what I mean? All right. So I'm not gonna go back and forth with you, dude. You can go find another stream. You're not welcome here. uh Maybe it doesn't align with their prediction is why they say it. Um you know, I don't know. I don't know at all. Um yeah. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. What are you guys' score predictions? Put them in the chat quickly. That'll be the last thing I check out before I roll out. So put your score predictions in the chat. And who do you think is going to win? Let's hear them. Let's hear them. Let's hear them. I said, did that dude subscribe? Did he did he subscribe just so he could come down here? Whoever has the ball last one, that's a cop out. That's a cop out. What's your score prediction? Well, hopefully you'll be here in the the stream, the watch party, bro. We don't see you on Sundays. Where you be at? What up, though, Kelly Douglas? 27-35 Detroit Lions. I can work with it. I can work with it. All right. Well, that won't be on Sunday night. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get my day started. Appreciate you all for coming through. Um, yeah, watching, subscribing. You had to subscribe if you came to my channel because you couldn't talk if you're in if you were in my stream. Uh, but take your little dusty subscription away if you're an Eagles fan and all you came in here to do was troll. So once again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic and make sure you guys hit me up. Watch party will be there as we do. All right. We'll check y'all on Sunday night. Peace.